Thank you, everybody from Expedia Cruise Ship Centers, to join me today on your Apple Vacations Advanced Booking Techniques. Today, we're going to go over multi-stop destinations and also pre and post cruise and an open jaw itinerary. But before we get into that, we're going to look at something for a single stop destination that you can do. It's just kind of something that's not normal. So we kind of still do this under advanced booking techniques. So what this is going to be is offsetting your hotel. So you have flights, let's say, for 7 nights and then a hotel for maybe 4 nights. And also how you can search by specific classes of service. So we're going to do that real quick. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is go under advanced search. So under your advanced search, what we're going to do is we're just going to put in, if this is origin, let's just put in a destination. Let's see here. Let's go Jamaica. So what we have here is I'm putting in my travel dates. So let's say the travel dates are 7 nights starting on the 14th of January, returning on the 21st. But below, what you can do is if you're looking for specific classes of service, you have the shop by price option, which is the default. If you hit shop by schedule, it'll give you more options for flights and also the opportunity to search for classes of service. The reason why you might do this is if you're looking for a price match, because price matches, you have to have specific classes of service to match up. So it's going to probably be one of the easiest ways to do that. So I'm going to put it on shop by schedule so you can see that. And then below, if you click on the hotel, it brings the hotel filter down. You're able to offset your hotel dates here. So let's say they don't need the first couple nights. So let's say they only need to arrive on the 17th and still check out on the 21st. So you can modify your check-in and check-out dates according to what you need, and then just go ahead and hit search. So let's go ahead and get that pulled up, just one moment, just so you can see what it kind of looks like. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, so on here, you can look for specific carriers if you choose to under your filters. You can look at depart time or return time or your cabin preference if it's something that's going to allow you to do it. How I like to do it is if you click on like carrier name, departs, arrives, or stops and layovers, that moves everything alphabetically and earliest to latest or 0 stops to the most stops. So if I click on carrier name here, it's going to alphabetize the airline. If I click on departs, it's going to bring up the first departure time. If I click on arrival, let's click on arrives, it's going to bring in the earliest arrival time. Or if you click on stop layovers, it's going to it'll start with on top a nonstop flight, and then it'll go 1, 2. We typically do not have anything over 2 stops pulling in our system because it's not beneficial to the customer. It's not a good experience. So let's just, for example, let's go ahead and look at the classes of service. If you click best price, it's just going to show the best pricing. But if you click this plus sign next to the view class, let's get that to expand. Just waiting for it to update. Just bear with me. All right, well, it's being a pain real quick, so let's try the other one. Just bear with me if you will. My computer tries to update this. It's taking a little bit. I see it thinking. Love this when it happens. There we go. All right. So this specific flight above, the 545 through Charlotte and at 229, the most expensive class of service will be the top left. So that's typically your business and first class. The least expensive is going to be the bottom right. So just remember to read it kind of like a book, left to right, top to bottom. So we can select specific classes of service if we choose to. So let's say queue on the outbound, I want And then let's select this 11:50 a.m. flight through Charlotte back at 11:22. And let's hit Q again. And now I selected my specific class as a service, and what I can do is hit price selected flights. If there is a bulk option, it will pull up here. Otherwise, it'll just automatically go to a published fare option. So in this case, the per person rate for the least expensive hotel that the system automatically picked for you is $12.89 a person compared to $13.50. So I'm going to use the bulk fare just because it's got a little bit more benefits to you and to the customers rather than a published fare. So as you see, we have our flights the 14th through the 21st. We have our hotel the 17th through the 21st, so we offsetted it. So that's how you can kind of search by specific class of service and also offset your hotels if you choose to. Does anybody have any questions on that? That's a pretty straightforward one.
No, I like that because I didn't know you could pick services, so I learned something new.
Well, that's what this training is for, so something new and something to learn.
Yep.
Okay, so let me go back to my initial search page. So now what we're going to go over is a multiple destination. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Hawaii reservation, and we're going to go through there. The multi-stop function is going to be the same no matter what product you use. Apple Vacations, FunJet, United Vacations, Travel Impressions, it's all the same. So if you go under your...
Today?
Go ahead, I'm sorry. What was that?
Is that what you did today for Karen, except in Europe?
I had to do hers with FunJet, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so on your main Apple page, when you go down to the bottom, it would be where it says multiple destinations. You have different options that you can do: air and hotel multi-stop, air only, hotel only with optional inter-island airfare, or hotel only. I'm going to keep it air and hotel. And just for flight purposes, I'm just going to use a West Coast origin because they have nonstop flights. And I know out in Tennessee, they're not going to have some nonstop flights out to Hawaii, let's say. So we're just going to put in our origin like we would normally. And remember, if you have a promotion code, this is where you would add it. With the multiple destinations, it's the same thing. You can get up to 4 rooms and 8 passengers, including children, onto the reservation. So let's go ahead and select some travel dates. Let's say February 12th is our outbound flight. And we'll do Honolulu and then over to Maui. So you're going to put in your first destination, and then let's select the number of nights. So because it's an air and hotel, you have to have a flight selected for that initial over the water portion. You do not have to have the flight in between if you choose not to. That you can remove, and I'll show you how you can do that. So for Honolulu, I've been there before. I wouldn't rent a car, me personally, so I'm going to remove my rental car. So you have the option to select these features, whether you need a hotel or not. Same thing with a car rental. If you're looking for additional hotel options, you can just drop that filter down and search by hotel name. And here's where you can offset your hotels if you need to, or search by brand. So destination 2, we're going to go over to Maui. I'm going to type in Maui's code, and let's do another 5 nights. So now if we need a flight, this is selected. If you didn't, you just deselect it. If you need a hotel, you keep it selected. If not, just deselect it. Same thing with a rental car, and you have your filters here. The one thing I kind of want to point out is the easiest way to look at it is destination 1 is point A, destination 2 is point B. So think of it this way. Okay, I'm in point A, so in this case Honolulu. How am I going to get to Maui, and what do I need in Maui? I look at it that way just because it's a little bit easier to break it down rather than just an overall itinerary, because you can get 6 stops on here if you choose to. And then it might be a little bit overwhelming and frustrating being like, oh, wow, okay, what do I need? So I just break it down for me as, okay, I'm in destination 1. How am I going to get to destination 2 and what do I need? So that's just the way I look at things, the way I trained my team members in the past on the multi-stop option. So it worked for them, so I always just mention it. But everyone has their own ways of doing things. So I'm going to keep everything selected. So if you need to add another destination, just hit add additional destination. All right, so now we have our destination 3. If you do not need it, you can just hit remove. All right, so I'm just removing that destination. And now from here, we can hit search. But before we do that, I just kind of want to bring something up. On the multiple destination function is the only place that you're going to be able to change your return city. So let's say I don't need to go back to LA. I need to go back to San Diego. I can type in San Diego if I choose to. Or if they need to fly all the way back to the East Coast, let's say Charlotte. We can have them fly back to Charlotte. So this is the only place they'd be able to do that. And we'll go over more of that in just a few moments once we get through this. So I'm just going to change this back to LAX. Here's your flight options if you choose to. So you can filter by the airline, cabin preference, or stops. If you go by cabin preference, my recommendation, always, or if you're looking for first class, always select business class. Because some planes don't have a first class cabin, and you're going to get an error message saying there's no first class flights available. But if you select business class, it'll pull up business class or first class, whatever's there. So that's just kind of a little tip. So I always recommend doing business class because if you select first class and there's none available, it's not going to pull for you. All right, so let's go ahead and hit search. And it does take a little bit longer for the availability to pull up on the multiple destination, just because you have way more components to the reservation. So it takes a little bit longer for it to pull up. All right, so just waiting on that. All right, so the flow of a multiple destination is a little bit easier to follow. So you're going to select your flights first, and then you're going to select your hotels. So right away, I like this nonstop flight for United, but remember we have our sort by options. So price point, alphabetically, number of stops, earliest to latest, or latest to earliest times, same with flight duration. You also have your filters on the left-hand side. So there's 56 flights available. You can use these filters to narrow it down. So there's 39 morning flights. There's 13 afternoon or 4 evening. So if you narrow it down to morning flights, it's going to change it down to 39 flights. So same thing there, additional airlines and number of stops. So remember to use your filters. It makes things easier. So I'm just going to hit this 8:30 flight. And again, remember, anything that has the dotted line under it, you can hover over it, and anything blue and that underlines when you hover over it, you can click on it and it gives you the information. So I'm going to go ahead and hit select. Did you have a question? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was talking to myself.
Okay. All right. So from here, it's going to take you to your next flight. So the next flight was going from Honolulu over to Maui. So again, you can use your filters. I'm going to filter it to an afternoon flight. And look at this Hawaiian Airlines flight that leaves at 3:53. Let's hit select. And then it's going to pull up our return flights. All right, so I'm going to actually choose this 4:20 p.m. flight, gets back at 11:40, because it's a nonstop flight and it's only $4.32 more than this least expensive connecting flight. So I'm going to select that, or you can select that 1040. Either way, they're the same price point. So I'm actually going to select that 1040 actually. All right, so also, you are able to remove your inner island flights. So if I did not need this Honolulu to Maui flight anymore, I can click remove and it would remove it. So if you see that remove button there for your inner island flights or your inner country flights, if it's Europe or maybe Mexico, Caribbean, or whatever, you can remove those if you choose to. All right, so now we're going to select our hotels. So now it's going to be kind of like a basic itinerary. So we're going to click hotels and look for specific hotels that we're looking for. So Hilton Hawaiian Village is always a good one. That's pretty popular, especially for people that have kids. But again, we can use our filter over here. We can do six apples, 5 apples, 4 apples, etc. I actually like the Waikiki, the Outrigger Reef Waikiki Beach Resort. I stayed there when I was out in Honolulu, so I'm going to look at doing that one. So let's hit the plus sign to see what's available. All right. So one thing to keep an eye on again is advanced purchase hotels. So you notice there's a standard 1 king bedroom here, but there's also a standard 1 king bed right here, and it's a non-refundable room. So just keep that in mind. Most of the time you're going to see those non-refundable rooms a little bit less. So let's see what we got here. I want to maybe see if they have an ocean view. All right, let's see here. All right, Pacific Tower Ocean View 1 king. I'm going to select that one. All right, and so from here we can select our features if you want to. So let's go ahead and add some travel protection.
Do we get commission on your travel protection?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
All right, I selected the wrong one, so I want to go back and select the cashback because that's a cashback option instead of a voucher for whatever those penalties were. All right, so now we're on destination 2, Kaanapali Beach. I'm going to just keep that hotel and just kind of jump right into the rental cars. So I'm going to click on rental cars. And you have your rental car options. You do have the option for more car brands if you choose to. You can select your pickup and drop off time. It's automatically going to select it for your times. And it runs on a 24-hour cycle. So if, let's say, you have the pickup time of this one is at 5:15, but you don't arrive until 6 o'clock, it's not going to matter. They hold it for 24 hours for you. So you can select your car rentals here. You can hit details to get specifics on the actual hotel, like what kind of car it might be, maybe the policies, like rental rules or deposits. It'll tell you that in there. Same thing with locations and stuff like that. On the left-hand side, you can actually filter things down. So you can actually select a pickup and drop-off location as well, but you have to select a specific brand of car. So let's say we want to choose dollar. And if you hit this drop down here, it'll give you the options for where you can pick it up and drop it off. So this one is only going to be at the Maui airport, only dropping off at the Maui airport. But if there was additional areas, you would see it here and you can select that. Same thing if you only need a car rental for a portion of that stay. You can change that right here. So let's say they only need it for 2 nights, so I'm going to do the drop off on the 19th. Change my return flight or return drop off time to, let's say, 6 p.m. And let's go ahead and hit search so it recalculates everything for us. All right, it's thinking. So now it's only going to pull up dollar. So let's go ahead and see what we can find. Alright, is there a convertible? Most people like those convertibles. I do not see any convertibles, so we're going to do a full-size SUV. Alright, so we go down here. You can see that the car was only selected for 2 days. Pick up the 17th, drop off the 19th. It tells you your locations. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and hit checkout. Another thing to keep in mind is on a multiple destination itinerary, unfortunately, the sales email does not work. It only works for a single stop destination.
So we can snip it?
You can snip it, yes, but that actual sales email like we did last week, it's not going to be an option for us on this one, unfortunately. You can still compare itineraries if you want. It's just you don't have the options for the sales email. All right, so from here, all we're going to do is proceed through like your booking. It gives you your hotel advisories, so it gives you a minimum or a mandatory resort fee. It tells you your parking fees or valet fees, hotel policies. All right, so if you scroll down, it gives you the hotel policies for the Kaanapali Beach. All right, so since everything runs on a 24-hour cycle, basically this car would have had to been dropped off around 5:15 for it to be on that 24-hour cycle, so it added another day to it. So that's why at the top says warning component has changed. So just keep an eye out for that. It gives you the estimated fees at the counter, because with car rentals, only the actual car rental and the basic taxes like sales tax are included. Gas tax, insurance, additional driver's fees aren't included. And so from here, you would just proceed through your normal booking process. We're not actually going to go ahead and book this one, but that's how you would do a multi-stop. It's pretty simple if you just break it down to make things easier for you. Does anyone have any questions on the multi-stop?
I think I got it. Anybody else have any questions? No, I think we're all good.
Okay, so let me go back to my initial search page. And now we're going to look at how to do a pre and post cruise. And I'm also going to do the multi-origin for you. So pre and post cruise is basically one night before, in the middle, you have nothing, and then one night at the end. So instead of turning customers away or going separately, saying, okay, I'll book my flights with the airline, I'll book my hotels separately, you can't do that in VAX. You get your normal commission on it, and it counts towards your numbers at the end of the year. So just for demonstration purposes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with Honolulu. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Could you back up just one moment?
Yeah.
And
Well,
what question did you have for him?
On the post-cruising, did you click something?
On the post-cruising, did you click something?
I have not even done it yet.
Oh, he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I just went back to my search page. Yeah, so I'm just going to use kind of the itinerary that we have already and kind of go that route. So let's say it's from Los Angeles. You have your cruise starting in Honolulu. So we have our flight from Los Angeles. Destination 1 is Honolulu. What you can do is drop down your number of nights to however many nights they want. So let's say 1. Destination 2 is going to be, let's say, your cruise. So unfortunately, Apple Leisure Group does not offer cruises, so you can't actually build it into your package, but you can account for that time. So let's say they're going to go for a 10-night cruise. All you have to do is deselect all your components. And then for a post night, what you'll do is just add your additional destination. So let's go ahead and add that additional destination. And it's going back to Honolulu. Let's do 1 night. And what we would do is remove all. everything, so you don't need the flight, but you need the hotel, so let's reselect that hotel. Now they're going back to Los Angeles. So here's where I'm going to kind of just throw things for that loop, though. I'm going to make it so they're going back to San Diego. So we're going to create that open jaw itinerary where the customers are flying from LA, doing their vacation, and then flying back to another city. And all it is as simple as changing your return. And from here, all you do is hit search. And after this, I'll show you how to do this just for one destination.
If we do just air with you, do we get commission on that?
Air only, no.
Okay.
It'll count towards your numbers, it just you won't get commission on it. You can always add an agency fee to it, but you wouldn't get normal commission like you would. What was that? I'm sorry.
Can they see the agency fee if we put it on there?
Not unless you choose to. I mean, there's a little area in there that says show as a line item. So if you don't select that, they won't see it.
Okay, yeah, we wouldn't want them to see it.
Yeah, most people don't. I agree. All right, so again, here's the flow of the reservation. So it gives you your flights. So I'm just going to select a United flight. I'm just going to pick any random components. Right, now it's going to take our return flight back from Honolulu to San Diego. So does everyone see that it's a different city going back to now? So let's see if they have a nonstop. So I'm just going to filter to nonstops. I'm going to use this Alaska flight, leaves at 1 p.m., gets back at 8:40 into San Diego. And I'm going to keep the hotel in Honolulu the same. So you notice it's one night, the 12th through the 13th. Now we have destination 2. There's nothing there. So that's the portion they're going to be on their cruise, or they can be with other family members, or whatever you choose to do. And then we have that last night. So that's how you're going to do a pre and post cruise. It's just like a typical multi-stop. You're just going to select that middle portion of where there's on that cruise and just deselect everything. Is everyone okay with that portion?
Yep.
All right, so now I'm going to show you kind of probably one of the biggest things people aren't aware that they can do for on the multi-stop. So you are able to do that open jaw itinerary as a single stop. You just have to be under the multiple destinations option. So let's go ahead and just keep this LA Honolulu thing going because it's a little easier because it's already in there. And plus they have decent nonstop flights. So right now it's got those 3 destinations. I don't need 3 destinations, so I'm going to remove one of them. So all you need is 2 destinations on this. All right, so let's get that removed. All right, so you have your outbound flight, so you're departing from city. You have your destination. So let's say they want to do Honolulu for 7 nights, but they don't need to go back to LA, so you can't do it as a single destination. So you have to do it as a multi-stop. So all you're going to do is keep your same destination for destination 2. And you're going to deselect everything and have it as a 0 night stay. Now you'll be able to fly in from one city, take your vacation just in one city, fly back to a different return city. So now let's say they need to fly back all the way to Chicago O'Hare. Now from here, you would hit search.
I don't also work that too.
So I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah. But people tend to want to go to Hawaii a day too early.
All right, computer, let's go. There you go. It's thinking. All right, so you're going to pick your outbound flight like you normally would. I'm just going to select this United. You're going to select your return flight, 5 p.m. Honolulu flight, getting back at 5 in the morning. Just going to select that. And now you're going to select whatever hotel you want to. So you notice how you have destination 2, it's still Honolulu, it's just there's nothing there. It's just the way so that in the system you're going to be able to get them to go back to a different city. Not many people know that option though. So it's something that I always like to let people know that they can do in that. Does anybody have any questions on that portion?
Yeah, can you do it again? For some reason it didn't register me.
Yep. All right, so let's go back. I'm just going to go to my main page, so clear everything out. So you'll have to be in your multiple destinations option. And what you will do is you'll just put in where you're flying from. So let's do a Mexico trip now. So let's do Nashville. So in BNA, let's choose dates in January. So let's do the 14th of January. Let's go to Cancun. And let's do a 6-night trip to Cancun. But notice how destination 2, you can't remove it. So what you're going to have to do in order to use this to where they can fly back to a different city, put in your same destination. So Cancun, do a 0-night stay.
Okay.
Then deselect everything. And now from here we can go back to wherever. So let's say they need to go back to Miami.
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah, so destination 2 is just a 0-night stay and just deselect everything. Then at that bottom you're going to be able to select where you can go. It's again, not many people actually realize you can do that, so it's just kind of something that we've like to train people on and show them that there is a possibility that they can do it in backs for themselves. That way you don't have to give us a call and wait on hold for maybe 20 minutes during peak season and all that fun stuff. All right, so is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I was the slow learner on it.
All right, perfect. So those are the few things that we wanted to go over today. Next week, we're going to go over groups and the other groups. Like you have 2 different group options. You have a flex group and then a contracted group. And we'll go over those 2 options and the benefits of them and kind of an overview of the group's dashboard, which is actually a pretty neat little feature. So does anybody have any questions before we wrap up today's training?
I don't on this, but I've got a lady wanting to go to Aspen. Can I do Aspen on Apple?
Colorado?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They do have domestic destinations. It's new, but it's only going to be for Florida and California and Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, so previously, like a few months ago, it was just beach destinations, essentially. You have Mexico, Caribbean, and Hawaii. Now they threw in a little bit of domestic product, but it's not a full-blown domestic product. If you need to go to Aspen, you can choose any of the other vendors, United Vacations, You can do fun jet vacations, travel impressions. Either of those you'll be able to do that destination, and it's
Place to look.
yep. And again, it doesn't matter the brand that which of our brands that you choose. The booking process is all the same,
Okay.
so it makes things easy where
We can
it's
just use the same local destinations and everything on Funjet or Southwest or whoever else is on there.
they should all be the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just based off of what you're more comfortable booking. I can't really tell you. I mean, obviously you're getting top commissions with Apple because you're going through this program. I can't tell you what you're getting for the other brands though.
Okay.
So it's whatever
All right.
preference that you have. Typically, like Aspen, depending on where you're going, United Airlines is a pretty good one. I mean, you can pull up United on anything, outside of Southwest vacations because that's only Southwest. But typically, out to Colorado, United has some pretty decent flights.
Okay.
So never been out to Colorado though.
I've not been to Aspen, but I've been to Breckenridge.
I heard it's beautiful.
It is, but I'm too old and fat. I couldn't breathe.
Oh, the wonderful altitude, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't look forward to that.
The time I came home.
I remember in Japan, I was about 13,000 feet above sea level when we went to Mount Fuji. That was pretty tough.
Yeah, you don't realize it till you've been there.
Yeah, but I don't know if the Rockies are a little bit taller than that or not, but I'm assuming it's pretty bad.
I don't know what it was. I just was not happy.
Yeah, I'll stay in the car.
I appreciate that. That was a good lesson.
What was
Any questions?
what was that? I'm sorry.
Tell me. And it was a good lesson.
That was a good lesson.
Well, awesome. And again, it's all going to be recorded for you. It takes a long time to record it. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead, I'll shut it down, and I'll get it over to you sometime tomorrow. And I'll just make sure I put it on my calendar so it's not like last time where I send it over to you on Monday or Tuesday because I forgot. That was on me, so I apologize for that.
No problem.
So what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and I'll end the recording, and until same time next Thursday. And we're going to go over groups. So I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.